Yeah.
First question from Emmanuel Asuncion.
Okay.
I have an extra room in my house that had been my practice room for years, but since COVID happened, that extra room I had to turn to actually room for my... Okay. They turned it into a room for their uncle to stay with them. It's been a year since my kit has been set up, but still currently play at church, but no practice, and as a result, my playing has been very sloppy. Now a friend has suggested to rent a storage unit just to have a practice space, and I'm strongly considering it. What are your thoughts on that, and or other suggestions to practice without the practice space?
Gotcha. Good question, Emmanuel. So, storage units, right? That's what it's about, right? Yeah. It's very tricky. I've known a number of people, good buddy of mine, one of the groomsmen in my wedding, actually, Devin Sumner, D-Sum Drums. He had a storage unit around here for a very, very long time. And it was interesting hearing about what it's like to be in a storage unit. So first of all, we should say that not all storage unit facilities allow musicians to be there, right? Some of them will just kick you out as soon as you start making that kind of noise. And some of them do allow that, and they'll tell you, like, yes, we have tons of bands that rent these storage facilities as rehearsal spaces. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is find out if the specific storage unit place that you're interested in, if they even allow musicians to be there. The other catch here is that, you know, not all of them are climate controlled, and I think that's a must, right? If you're going to put all of your audio gear, recording gear, a drum set inside of a storage unit, it's got to be climate controlled, right? And normally what that means is that they keep it at like 78 or like 81 degrees, so it doesn't get like brutally hot or brutally cold. I'm talking about Florida, obviously.
Yeah.
You might have a different problem in a colder state. So yeah, it has to be climate controlled. The other thing that you've really got to take into consideration is power. You know, are you going to be able to get power in there? Some of them have one outlet, some of them have none. Others have an outlet in the hallway, so you've got to run an extension cord into the room. That's just if you want to have like good lighting. You know, so if you're making content there, that's another thing. That's another thing you got to consider, right? I want to say, who was it? Jeff Randall, Killer drummer. Mm-hmm. I believe he had quite a while where he did a storage unit type of setup. So, you know, it can be done. It definitely can be done. I would say the thing to consider, though, is that you are renting a space. So it's money that's just going away, right? So if you said, I'm going to pay $200 a month for a year, well, you know, that's a little over $2,000. What happens if you took $2,000 and decided to, you know, fix up a room in your house or a place in your house where, you know, maybe you were able to film there. Maybe you spend that money on soundproofing type stuff. I mean, I would just think of it that way, because when you rent a facility, you can't really do that much to a storage facility, right? That room isn't yours. That box isn't yours. So there's only so much stuff you can do to the room itself as far as sound treatment, decorations and aesthetics, things like that. So it's not a bad option. If it's just for practice, it's probably one of the better options if you truly have no other room, you know, in your house. But one thing I'll say, and I've heard of a lot of people doing this before too, is sharing the space with somebody else. If you can find another drummer or perhaps even a band, someone else who's in the same position as you where they need a rehearsal facility, what you can do is rent it with them and then schedule like certain days or times. And let's be honest, you're probably not going to go there 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's an insane amount of time to be playing music anyway. But, you know, if you just said, well, hey, I'm only going there, you know, at nights, Monday through Thursday for 3 or 4 hours. All you have to do is find somebody who's on a different schedule, another musician, and they might say, well, that's perfect because I practice in the mornings on the weekends, right? So that's another way to look at it, is that you could split the cost. But the first thing that you have to make sure of is that the storage facility that you're considering, that they actually allow musicians, because the worst thing would be if you sign a contract for a year of a storage room and then the first day you play, they're like, hey, what are you doing? That's not allowed here. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But I think it's a good option, Em. I think it's a good option. I would just consider, you know, if you're going to spend a couple $1,000s a year on that, is there another way you could spend that money where maybe you're spending it on soundproofing stuff in your own house that you own, that you get to keep forever? Because renting stuff is, you know, not ideal in the long run, but depends on the position you're in, man. But yeah, I would say it's not a horrible idea, something to look into, explore it, you know. Thanks for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are in any way looking to make yourself a better drummer online, which you probably are, it's why you click this video, make sure to click this link up here, wherever it is, orlandodrummer.com. It's an online drum school in the style of Netflix. Trust me, you will find something you like, but don't take my word for it. 7-day free trial at the link in the description. Make sure to sign up for that, see if you like it. We'd love to have you on board. Thanks, guys.